Picture this. Your dog just backed out of his harness in a busy parking lot. It's 2 terrifying seconds, he has no collar on, and suddenly he's completely loose right next to moving traffic. That exact failure point is what decides our pet scorecard explainer today, because one of these 2 popular brands is specifically engineered around escape prevention, while the other is engineered entirely around protecting your dog inside your car.
So, that brings us to a huge question. Is the more expensive harness actually safer for your dog? Here's the thing almost nobody tells you. In one specific scenario, which happens to be the single most statistically dangerous thing your dog does every week, the cheaper option beats the premium option outright. It isn't even close. If you buy the wrong harness for your dog's actual behavior and lifestyle, you're paying for padding you literally don't need, and you're skipping the critical protection you absolutely do.
All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at the 2 harnesses that absolutely dominate search results. On the left, we've got the Ruffwear Front Range, which sits at around $50. On the right is the Kurgo Tru-Fit Smart Harness, coming in around $30 to $40. They belong to the exact same category, but they feature radically different design philosophies. To score the gear before you spend, we're grading these on our 5 pet scorecard pillars: fit and comfort, durability, safety, ease of use, and value for money. No brand loyalty here, just the facts.
Category 1, fit and comfort. And this is where the price gap shows up immediately. Take a look at how Ruffwear tackles comfort. The front range gives you 4 points of adjustment alongside a generously padded chest and belly panel. This design intentionally spreads pulling pressure right across the sternum instead of the throat, and all the webbing is soft-edged. Now, if you have a short-coated dog like a pit mix, a Vizsla, or a boxer, that matters immensely. Unpadded nylon on bare skin creates armpit chafing within about 2 miles of walking. Because of this superior comfort and really smart tailoring, Ruffwear scores an excellent 9 out of 10 for fit and comfort.
Now, looking over at the Kurgo Tru-Fit, it actually gives you 5 adjustment points. More adjustment usually means a better fit on odd body shapes, which is a solid win on paper. However, the padding is noticeably thinner. The chest plate relies on a simpler strap arrangement rather than a contoured panel. And all that extra hardware means more buckles have the potential to dig in. On a thick-coated husky, you'll probably never notice, but on a short-haired dog doing a long walk, you definitely will. Because of this, Kurgo scores a 7 out of 10 for fit and comfort.
So, comparing them directly, round 1 clearly goes to Ruffwear. Its padding and thoughtful cut make it significantly better for daily use and long miles on the trail. But hold that thought, because as we move through this scorecard, you'll see exactly where this comparison takes a really sharp turn.
Category 2, durability. Rings versus buckles.
When we look at construction quality, the front range runs a genuine aluminum V-ring on the back attachment point. It's not a bent steel wire, and it's definitely not a plastic reinforced loop. It also uses overlapping box stitch seams at all the major load points. That means a single thread failure won't suddenly unzip the entire seam when your dog pulls hard. Honestly, these harnesses regularly survive up to 5 years of daily abuse with just some cosmetic fading. For absolute longevity, Ruffwear earns a 9 out of 10 in durability.
Kurgo counters this with heavy-duty nylon and steel nesting buckles instead of standard plastic side-release clips on the load path. This is a legitimately serious engineering choice because plastic buckles are the #1 hardware failure on budget harnesses, and Kurgo entirely removed that failure mode. That said, the padding on the Tru-Fit compresses and flattens out a bit faster than Ruffwear's foam, and the front ring shows abrasion sooner. It's incredibly tough, earning a very solid 8 out of 10 for durability.
Ruffwear takes the durability round 2, maintaining a strong lead on the scorecard. At this point, you might be thinking the $50 option is just running away with the win. But let's step into the next pillar, because this is where the entire narrative shifts. Category 3, safety and risk. The story flips.
Here's the hidden flaw with the Ruffwear front range that you almost never see in those 5-star reviews online. It is not crash test certified. It was never designed to be. If you clip your dog to a seatbelt using a front range, you're relying on a walking harness to survive the massive forces of a 30-mile-an-hour deceleration event. It simply will not hold.
Now, switch gears and look at Kurgo. The Kurgo Tru-Fit Enhanced Strength version is independently crash-tested and certified by the Center for Pet Safety for dogs up to 75 pounds. Even better, it actually ships with a seatbelt loop and tether right in the box. That is not just a marketing bullet point. According to the evidence, that is the literal difference between your dog being safely restrained and your dog becoming a high-speed projectile inside your car.
Ruffwear's safety story is entirely different. It's fantastic for visibility, it has reflective trim on all sides, and the safe front clip redirects a pulling dog sideways instead of letting them crush their own trachea. Critically, there are no plastic buckles in the load path. But, and this is a big but, the front range is a two-strap harness. A determined backing out escape artist can literally just shrug it off if the girth strap is even slightly loose.
Since car travel is the single highest risk activity most dogs do all week, Kurgo absolutely owns this category. Kurgo takes a dominant 9 out of 10 for safety. Ruffwear gets docked hard, dropping down to a 7.5 out of 10 due to its zero crash certification and the lack of a third strap to prevent escapes.
Categories 4 and 5, ease of use and value. Which is better?
For ease of use, Ruffwear uses a really simple step-in and clip design. 2 side release buckles, slip it over the head, and you're done in roughly 6 seconds. It earns an easy 9 out of 10. Kurgo, on the other hand, requires some genuinely tedious initial setup. With 5 adjustment points in those steel buckles, expect to spend a solid 15 minutes with a tape measure and a squirming dog the very first time. The steel buckles are also slower to fasten, especially in the cold, so ease of use for Kurgo drops to a 6.5 out of 10.
When we look at pure value, Kurgo lands at around $30 to $40 and includes that crash certification plus a seatbelt tether. Buying that safety layer separately would cost you another $25. So on pure dollars to protection, Kurgo scores a 9 out of 10. Ruffwear asks $50 up front and gives you absolutely no car safety at all, but it delivers half a decade of durable, chafe-free daily walks. It scores a highly respectable 8 out of 10 for long-term value.
And here is our final pet scorecard. The Ruffwear front range finishes with a 42.5 out of 50, earning an A-. It is the better built, better fitting daily walking harness, only disqualified from a perfect A by the absence of crash certification. The Kurgo Tru-Fit finishes with a 39.5 out of 50, earning a B+. It sacrifices some daily comfort and setup speed, but it is the only one certified to keep your dog restrained in a collision.
So what is the final evidence-based verdict here? Well, it entirely depends on your dog's lifestyle. If your dog's life mostly consists of walks, hikes, and neighborhood loops, buy the Ruffwear front range. It fits better and it lasts longer. But if your dog rides in your car more than twice a week, buy the Kurgo Tru-Fit. Crash certification beats padding any day when physics gets involved. And please, never try to make one harness do both jobs by clipping a Ruffwear to a seatbelt.
Now, I promised you an answer for the escape artists. If your dog has ever backed out of a harness, you need to skip both of these models entirely. You want the Ruffwear Webmaster. It adds a crucial third strap right behind the ribcage and a reinforced handle. It is the definitive, genuinely escape-proof answer. Yes, it costs more, but it is worth every single dollar the very first time it prevents your dog from getting loose on a busy road.
Finally, what if you have a dog that heavily commutes in the car but also hikes long miles? The safest, most practical solution is simply to buy both. Keep the Kurgo in the car permanently for commutes, and use the Ruffwear for your daily walks. For around $85 total, you have 2 specific harnesses doing exactly the jobs they were independently engineered for. That is the correct, safest build for your pet.
So ask yourself, is your dog's current setup actually built for what they do most, or are you just trusting the price tag? Always score the gear before you spend. Make sure you subscribe to Pet Scorecard right now, because our next breakdown is going to tear apart a highly popular no-pull harness that veterinarians are quietly warning owners against. You absolutely won't want to miss what the evidence reveals on that one. We'll see